We've got our backpack sprayers to spray for weeds. We've got a spreader to fertilize, although we're not going to use that one. We're going to grab our bags of fertilizer so we can make the grass nice and green. What's going on, guys? It's Will with Military Lawn Cuts, and in today's video I'm going to be taking you guys along for a ride along to share with you tips and tricks on how to do a lawn application or treatment, no matter what type of treatment you're doing for a lawn, whether you're spraying weeds or push spreading fertilizer or pre-emergent, it doesn't even matter. We're going to be sharing with you so much knowledge, so make sure to watch all the way to the end of the video because you are not going to want to miss these tips and tricks. We're going to be showing you Brock, who makes over $30 an hour at our company spraying lawns, and how he does it and how he is quick while also keeping a good quality to make sure that the customers are super satisfied. Let's jump into it. All right, I'm going to be doing a quick voiceover, so stay with me. First thing you want to do is fill out your yard signs and put the timestamp on when you are actually there so the customer knows when you treated. Go ahead and start your job so that way we're tracking our time on every property to make sure we're coming in within the budget amount of time. Now, the very first thing you want to do for every single lawn treatment is actually spray for that blue broadleaf weed control. And the reason for this is we don't know what type of grass type is in the backyard yet, so we want to get eyes on the property first. This is why we do weed control first. Plus, this is the biggest complaint that customers normally tell us, so we want to focus on that first. Whenever we're putting the chemicals in, make sure you give it a good shake so that way it can actually spread evenly when you do spray it. Now, I do want to let you know you should be wearing eye protection and nitrile gloves anytime you are mixing or spraying to protect ourselves from chemicals. And so we're going to go ahead and spray. Now, I want you to notice Brock is actually walking on the concrete right now. This is actually an inefficient way to start. It would be better off if he started right by the truck and at least do that half strip up in the ditch to get a head start. Anytime you're walking more than 5 feet with the equipment, there is a more efficient way. So just make sure you're trying to think through that while on the lawns. When you are spraying, the nozzle should be 8 to 12 inches above the ground. That's going to give you that good coverage to make sure you're spraying the weeds very thoroughly. Again, weed control is what we get the most complaints on while we're out there, so we got to make sure we're doing a great job. Now, when you are walking, you want to make sure that you are scanning every 4 feet. You don't want to have too wide of a range or too less of a range because it could be not quick and efficient. About 4 feet, as you can see, he turned his corner back there and he's doing the bottom half of the ditch there. Anytime you see standing water like that, you do not want to directly spray it or get any overspray into it. So keep a couple feet away from there because that chemical can actually stay in the puddle longer and you'd hate for a dog to come by and lick it up. So anytime you're doing this, you want to make sure you're doing an S formation, which basically means you're just walking down, turning, and coming back. So you want to put the yard sign about a foot off that concrete, right directly in front of the door so the customer can see that. Now, we're going to be transitioning into the fertilizer now. So you want to make sure you are using the correct fertilizer because it's very important. And we're going to let Brock take this over here.
We're set on 14 right now. Fill it up just right over the top, especially since we're doing all that work in this backyard. Probably only going to need about 15 pounds, maybe if that. Okay, maybe have to open it up some because it's wet now.
Now listen to that great spread. You can actually hear it pouring out of the spreader. Anytime you turn with the spreader, you want your granulars to touch the edge of the last tire pass from the previous pass. You want to make sure you are overlapping when you are fertilizing so you're getting that good coverage. Typically setting 14 to 16 on a Lesco spreader will be good depending on your walking speed. And I noticed, if you did notice, Brock was actually jerking the spreader back a few times. It's really wet today in this video, so sometimes it gets clumped up in the bottom of that spreader and you just want to kind of shake it around a little bit. So there is a guard on the spreader, which Brock is not using at this point because there is a pretty good wall there to block the granulars from going into the flower bed. But this is what a great lawn application should look like. You want to make sure you're getting good coverage. If it is wet, it's okay. We put a sticky product in the weed control. And getting finished here, we're going to actually put a cover on our fertilizer when it is wet to protect it from getting wet, because there's nothing like having a clogged spreader when you're out on the route. And then we're going to go ahead and wrap this up here.
We're still almost within the budgeted amount of time. It's 0.78 hours.
Nice.
We're close.